It was allegedly Vladimir Lenin, of all people, who said, "There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen." 2024 was like that, albeit a whole year where decades happened. 2024 was a year that people began to lose faith in the elite dictated established order, all at once. That lack of faith is epitomized by the election to public office of candidates decidedly not a part of the elite establishment. The most compelling example of that is the election of Javier Milei as president of Argentina in late 2023. Milei campaigned as a radical anarcho-capitalist libertarian economist, promising to take a chainsaw to government spending. He won, and he's been wielding the chainsaw with a vengeance, cutting Argentine government spending dramatically. As a result, the Argentine federal budget is in balance for the first time in decades. Inflation has been slashed. Foreign investment into Argentina has boomed, along with the Argentine stock market, and the economy has emerged from a long, painful recession into growth mode. Unemployment has also gone down. Doug Barbieri, a Libertarian Counterpoint panelist who actually moved to Argentina, has been there while all this took place, and will shortly be giving us a boots-on-the-ground description of how it all played out. Sweden has scrapped their commitment to the 2030 climate global directives. Voters lost faith in the FBI and other law enforcement organizations when it became clear that crimes of corruption by Hunter Biden, while his dad was vice president, were being ignored and covered up. Voters lost faith in elite-controlled healthcare bureaucracies like the CDC when it became abundantly clear that they were propagating bald-faced lies about COVID, from its alleged severity to its origin to the efficacy of masks and vaccines to the effectiveness and fairness of the lockdowns and more. Some heard the COVID fatalities in Africa, with its 20% vaccination rate, were not much worse than in the West, with vaccination rates nearing 100% in some countries. Voters lost faith in the climate scare complex when the predictions of polar ice cap disappearance, polar bear extinction, and flooding coastal cities failed to materialize, even decades after when they were predicted by the likes of Al Gore and John Kerry. Voters lost confidence in government bean counters when they were told that inflation was under control, even as it surged to 9%, and when election year job gains turned into job losses after the figures were revised, which happened conveniently after the election. In France, President Emmanuel Macron was compelled to call snap elections, where the National Rally Party won more than twice as many votes as Macron's Central Alliance. In Italy, Giorgia Meloni's Brothers of Italy won a majority of the Italian parliament. In Hungary, Viktor Orban's Fidesz party won the parliamentary majority. The Law and Justice Party won the majority in Poland. And in the United States, the candidate with the felony convictions and civil lawsuit losses, not to mention nearly unanimous disparagement by the elite-controlled corporate media, Donald J. Trump won a second non-consecutive term as president in spite of everything the elites could throw at him. What's interesting from a libertarian perspective is that legacy media, which is, of course, totally controlled by the entrenched elites, are loudly bemoaning these electoral results as a takeover by the far right. They are not. The libertarian Milei is particularly not a man of the right, and the rest of them ran on some libertarian issues, less regulation and government discrimination in the form of DEI policies among them. They also ran on economically illiterate populist issues like the scourge of immigration. But a significant portion of that anti-immigration fear is based on the reality that the entrenched elites have long been encouraging immigration as a way of padding their own party's voter rolls. Worldwide, the people said loudly and clearly to the established elites and their media mouthpieces, "We don't trust you, we don't like you, and we will elect anyone who opposes you." The danger is that the newly elected will wimp out on the reasons they were elected and succumb to the monetary and prestige temptations of becoming part of the establishment elite, ultimately changing nothing. The only leader who seems willing to break that mold is Milei in Argentina. Hopefully others will follow his example. That's this week's report from the fields. I'm Richard Fields. See you again next week. And